somehow I became the oldest child in the family, essentially getting to know my siblings better and crying just to be loved and to be recognized.
Welcome to Rising Above Shadows of Abuse, a podcast where we unpack the layers of trauma, healing, and hope with those who've walked through the burning furnace and come out with wisdom. I'm your host, Grace Upper. Today's show, this must have impacted your sense of self and safety as a child.
Very much so.
Because you just actually said your younger brother was able to gather all the firearms on the whole family as a whole.
Oh, very much so. And mercifully, my role early on in my family became, in many ways, even though I'm the second oldest of four siblings altogether, as it turns out, when my sister, who's 2 years older, was very young, she wound up having to be hospitalized for a very bad kidney urinary tract infection. And back at that time, which was probably, I want to say, late 50s, she could have died. Things were that severe. They did not have the same array of antibiotics and that they do nowadays. And in many ways, somehow I became the oldest child in the family, the responsible one. I fortunately had at least a modicum of intelligence, and I applied that to my studies and wound up getting recognition by excelling in school. And I was, quote, the good boy, maybe the symbol of health, which was just a myth because my course went sideways also as a teenager. But it was a time that I'm grateful is done.
I do understand what you said earlier on about your elder sister being sickly. And then you are a man. The reins, you had to take over the helm of affairs. And your brother was also helpful as well because he supported you. When you took the leap of faith of saying, we need to organize this family, you took the helm of affairs, you took the leadership role, but you had supportive siblings. Your younger brother, like you said earlier on, took charge of the firearms and disposed of it. So there was a bit of unity there as well.
As it turns out, I have spent the last several years essentially getting to know my siblings better. As it turns out, my second oldest brother wound up being assigned the role of, quote, the black sheep of the family. And his way of recognition was acting out many times. And he wound up having some pretty bad temper tantrums and really got treated unnecessarily and excessively bad from my parents because he did act out. And I know in retrospect, he was crying for attention and crying just to be loved and to be recognized. And then my youngest brother wound up using the defense mechanism of sublimation. He wound up excelling in every sport that he played and was rather good. He was always among the best of the best in whatever sport he attempted to do. And so we each had our role, almost like it was an assigned role.
So you talked about one of your brothers using sublimation. So were there specific coping mechanisms you developed as a child that you later had to unlearn as an adult?
For me, I would say I'm still in the process of making friends with these facets of my personality. I have the ability to really get into a mode with my mind and brain that I can dial in and I would say almost hyper concentrate on particular things that I really put my mind to. For instance, in the imaging world, which a diagnostic radiologist typically interprets images in the black and white, images in the various shades of gray on regular x-rays. Also, many radiologists have expertise in ultrasound, which I did happen to have, and I loved ultrasound, still do, but also CAT scans, MRIs. So God gave me the ability to, in essence, see what's there, but also my eyes went wider and deeper into cases, and I could extract the essence of what happened to be going on or not going on in a particular patient. And yes, was I a perfectionist? I held the bar extremely high for myself, and that had its advantages in my professional practice, but carrying that over to regular activities of daily living, I've had to learn to, hey, it's okay to be good. It's okay to not just know everything. And I think some of the wisdom is knowing what you know, but also knowing what you don't know. And I had, even in my professional world, I had no problem. If there was a case that I said, I need extra help, I need an extra set of eyes, somebody who has not seen the case, who can just give me a slant, or maybe even a person who has additional expertise in that, because I had a relentless pursuit of getting the correct diagnosis. Now, that's all well and fine for professional career, doesn't work in real life. And so there's had to be, I've put it this way, I've spent many, many years in my own individual therapy, uncoupling facets of my personality that have worked for me and also ones that have worked against me. I'm prone to anxiety. Actually, well, growing up in New York, I think that's a prerequisite of living in. New Yorkers are pretty high strung, and I'd be one of them. But you know, I'm happier and happier with the me that I am.
In a nutshell, you've accepted yourself and you're making improvements in certain areas.
Exactly. And I am worthy to be loved by myself and people. Part of my goal is to give that vibe off, words, deeds, expression, that people that I meet, they matter. Same family. We don't all go through the same story, yet if you stop and listen to somebody's story and they tell you their real story, how comradeship there is in this business of living.
Be safe and be positive. Also, do not forget to visit our social media handles: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Bye for now, and see you in our next episode. Thank you.